Let me see. I hope the network is fine now. Let me try and invite someone. Is it green? Use your route. Come and connect me. If you guys can hear me, I'm gonna log out and connect again. I'm having network issues. Yeah, today is not my day at all. Is it unlimited? Sure. Okay. Can somebody just come in? I want to see if the audio and everything is fine. Let me try Sunshine. Listen, come and put the password here. Yeah, on the laptop. Can you guys hear me? Like, can everybody hear me? I just need the confirmation on that. Okay. If you all can hear me, then thank you very much. And those who can, please, may you share the live. I am really sorry that I came in late. I'm having electricity and network problems. What happened is I bought electricity and it keeps giving me the failed message. As a result, I have no power at my place. I'm in a neighbor's place right now. That's how I guess important this life is to me. I'm not even dressed for the occasion. Khotman. I just had to leave my place and come here. So this is a neighbor's place. I just asked that I make noise for them. Just do this live and then go home because there's no power in my place. I bought electricity, but when I punch it in, it keeps saying failed. I don't know what's happening. So I'll go check with the municipality tomorrow. So those who can, may you please just share the live whilst I'm trying to set up everything here. So to those that are coming in, thank you very much for joining us again. And the last time we agreed that we're going to continue with the same topic because we couldn't end the live with a definition or an agreement on what a man is. So the topic for today is the same topic we had on Sunday, which was what is a man. But after today, I'm going to have Ash co-hosting with me. I'm waiting for him to request because I've invited him, and he has not accepted yet. So I'm waiting for him to request so that we can start. But I apologize for starting late because, as I've said, I'm experiencing some problems. Right now, I'm not even in my place. At a neighbor's house. So I guess maybe I should start with the rules. I should start with the house rules before we go forward. So the house rules are as follow. We don't entertain tribalism. We don't impose our religion or beliefs on others. We don't question or disrespect other people's beliefs or religion. Only one person talks at a time. 5 minutes will be given to each speaker. 3 minutes will be to make your point. 2 minutes will be to entertain arguments, to entertain questions. But if there are no questions, then you can continue with your argument. We are patient with each and every speaker till the end of their 5 minutes. We don't ask personal questions, not unless the speaker is willing to entertain them. We joke less or don't joke at all. And we don't discuss anything outside of the discussed topic. One insult is one too many. The person insulting others will be removed immediately. Right has nothing to do with the camera. It's where I'm at. It has nothing to do with the camera. It's the lighting where I'm at. Where was I? Women can comment and ask questions, but they won't be allowed to the guest box. Only after the discussion has been officially closed, a topic for the next day will be discussed and agreed on, or the next live. The last rule is this one. We do not bash or insult women. We are here for our own problems. Those are the rules. Trying to avoid what happened last week, we agreed that I should start with this. So I'll read the given and I'll try to shape up the argument or the conversation so that when we start, we know exactly what is expected of us. So the topic is what is a man, right? So here are the given facts. We know that a man is a human being, a person, an adult male. We also know that a man has a Y chromosome. We know that a man has high bone density. We know that a man has a high muscle mass. We know that a man has high levels of testosterone and progesterone. We are clarifying these so that people don't bring them in as if they're something we do not know. So when you start your argument, you will start with your assertion, not with the general facts that we all know. The parameters of the definition, we are defining a black South African man. This means your definition should be in correlation with the realities of a black South African man living in South Africa. Think deeply of their struggles. Think of ways to liberate them. Think of current realities of black South African men which you wouldn't want your son to be exposed to. Those are the parameters of the definition. You should keep in mind that you're defining a black South African man, and your definition should be attached to the realities of black South African men. Your definition should agree with the way of life of a black South African man. Secondly, to define is to give form, which will be characteristics or attributes, and then functions. When defining a complicated thing, we try and use the simplest words ever in our vocab, and then we give clear and relatable examples. This is so even a 10-year-old can have an understanding of whatever that is being defined. Just to give 2 examples of words to be mindful of. We need to remember that we're defining a person who's made to feel like it is his responsibility to pay for other independent adults' hair, nails, and also has a responsibility to give these adults money so they can take care of their needs. In some cases, a man is defined as one who has to carry the financial responsibilities and needs of a relationship or household. A man is often defined as or shown as useless in the life of his own child if he has no financial muscle. A man is defined as a leader, but put in a situation where he has to lead people who are independent leaders of self. People who choose what they want or do what they want or don't want to do, regardless of the leader's view. But when things go south, break, and become bad, more often than not, it will be blamed on the poor leadership of a man. Where am I? It is for this reason that we can't be careless with words like responsible or responsibility. To avoid unfair definition and overload, when we will need to be specific of the responsibilities a man should answer to, and maybe even say why. It's the second word. A man's life has always been made to be expendable. He has to run towards danger or death to save lives of others. If not children, then opposite gender. An example would be to stand between a pit bull and a woman. This happens because a man has been defined as a protector. Protecting children is often understood and accepted. It is a case where a man has to protect those who are also said to be his equals, where the life of a man is made less important to a life of a woman. A man is not invincible or immune to death or all forms of danger. He too needs protection. When using the word protect, be clear of what you mean and how. Also, if possible, give examples. Zinhle, I can't. It's the light where I'm at. My phone has nothing to do with how I look today, I swear. It's not the camera, it's... I tried. Ash, request my guy. So you need to be clear when you're using words like protect. You need to be very clear to who should he protect, why should he protect those people. You need to be clear with that, and why should it be him that is protecting, for the reasons I've mentioned on top. The two words are just example. We're not limited to them. All I'm saying is that you should be mindful of the words you mention or you use. So, and you should be clear on in what context and what you mean, and even give examples. So when you come with your definition, give us characteristics or attributes of a man. Give us the functions of a man. Also, tell us who can say that one is or is not a man, and what is it that qualifies that person or that specific group to be able to judge. With that, I'm done. Ash, how are you, my guy?
I'm good in yourself, my brother.
I'm good, man. Apologies for being late. What happened is I just changed my conventional meter to a prepaid, and then I bought electricity for the first time after it has been changed. It's not going in.
Jesus. So how do you have lights now?
So not in my place.
Okay.
I had to knock at a neighbor's place and ask that I host this live.
Jesus Christ. Guys, you see the things that Anela is going through just to make sure that the gens are good. It's very important. We really appreciate the effort.
Yeah, man. Do you have anything to say before we open the floor for people?
Okay, so the main two words we're going to talk about, you said is what? Protection, provide and protect.
No, it's not the words we're going to talk about. I was just giving examples, Uti. When a person is using like words like protect, responsibility, or be responsible, they should be mindful that these very words are used to oppress man. Like, for example, the word protect is often used when a man's life is being made expendable, like less of those he has to protect, that he has to run to danger, so that those, I understand children, but those of opposite sex who are often said to be his equals, when danger comes, it's his life that he has to put on the line to protect them. So when you say a man has to be a protector, you need to be clear on why, how, and why should it be him. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And who is it that he's protecting? Because if we're not clear on those, we might be adding on the oppression and discrimination of man. Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, when you're using words like a man has to be responsible, you need to be clear responsible of what, to whom. The reason for that is because a man is also made to be responsible of financial needs of a household, responsible of financial needs of an adult that he's said to be an equal to. So it's the very same word that is used to oppress man. So you need to be careful on how you define man using his pain. I don't know if you understand.
No, I get you. Okay, so I think that's the because someone was asking to set a little bit of a structure. So I think that's the structure here. So today we're going to talk about the characteristics of a man, right? The functions of a man. Also, the third thing, you need to tell us who in society or in nature, organi, whatever, is responsible for saying whether a man is a man or whether a man is not a man. Who is in that position of authority to actually measure the standard of what a man is. I think that's the
Yes.
set structure for today. Okay, so I'll just open up the floor and then I'm gonna maybe chip in again later on because I just like making it easy for people to come and jump on and let's say their opinions. So from now, continuation from last week, we spoke about how you are a male before you are a man. So what a man is for me in terms of characteristics of function, what a man is leadership, masculine energy, focus, drive. There's so many things I'm going to have to mention, and I don't think I'm going to have time to explain them all. But let me just minimize it to a couple of stuff.
Ed, can I ask for a favor? Do you have a stopwatch with you?
Uh, I use a Rolex, and
I left my second phone at my place. I just came running using a Rolex.
So let me just pop my laptop
Do you
open.
have a phone that you're not using? Even if it's a small phone. Is it? Do you have a small phone? Yeah. I just need a stopwatch. Okay, it's fine. I'll use my laptop. It's fine.
Can we please tap the
This
screen?
this
Can we tip?
electricity thing made me so unorganized, disorganized. I hate it.
Can we keep tapping the screen, guys? People need to jump on the live. So please help us out there. Let's tap
Yeah,
the screen.
may people just
Let's
tap the
tap the
screen. We really appreciate that. Okay, I have the stopwatch in front of me. You can start.
Okay, all right. So for me, what a man is in terms of function, a man is supposed to be a protector. I know it's typical that a man is supposed to be a protector. A man is supposed to be a provider. And I say these functions of a man because they are deeply rooted to their physical nature or their bodies, right? Men's physical bodies are built in such a way that allows them to work harder and stronger and longer compared to women. So the protection, however, does not only mean physical protection, but there's also mental protection of those that are weaker than us, and that would be our female counterparts. Our female counterparts, they are only weaker physically, but they are stronger in other ways in which men are weak. So we have to balance each other out. So I think providing provision and protection of women and children is an absolute must. Doesn't matter whether umntwana ngowakho okanye ayogazi lakho lo mntwana loyo, but you have to protect. It's a responsibility. Again, the Chinese say that with great power comes great responsibility. So a man should, by default and natural law, protect. Another function of men that I can talk about is focus and drive. Because of men's ability to always be able to sort of think outside of their emotions. It makes them very, very good people in terms of like leadership. They're good candidates for leadership. So when men are in power, it's not because men are patriarchal, it's because men by nature, they tend to be more decisive and focused in the things that they do. They know how to discern feelings apart from logic. So it really helps them. So I think a man should be focused like that. You should be able to control your feelings. This means that control your sexual lust. This means that control your emotions and don't raise a hand on a woman. So for me, that would be the definition of a man. The first function, I'm going to recap again. The first function would be provision and protection. And then the second function would be focus. Thank you.
Okay, Ash, if I may ask,
Yes, sir.
if man, if um, because man has the strength, that is physically stronger, then therefore he has to protect women and children. I'll ask you, who is then protecting man on parts where he's not as strong, like his emotions and so on? Because I fear that, I'll give you an example. Often a man would be abused, maybe by a mother of his child, and he won't be encouraged to go open a case and make sure that woman goes to prison, because a line will be used that says, umama umntwanakho. Yes, you can fix this, but awunozubuphisa umama umntwanakho. So even though he's a victim in the situation, he's still given the responsibility to protect the perpetrator, because he's a man and umama umntwanakhe. So I'm trying to find out, Uguti, by defining a man in that way, are we not also exposing him to a lot of mental and physical pain that he's already experiencing, and maybe he needs to be liberated from?
Okay. So I think I feel like the society that we live in today has sort of obscured these roles of what a man should and shouldn't be. When we speak about men providing and protecting, women are employed, they have enough money to purchase bodyguards or security or whatever to protect themselves. So it makes now this idea of a man being a provider and a protector a little bit redundant, because they already have that from using employing someone to do that. Now, so what I'm just trying to say is that life will not always be fair. there's some cases where men are going to be taken advantage of because they are obligated to do this providing and protection, especially specifically protection. So it's just one of those things that I feel should be regulated, and it's in the hands of the law. Honestly, it's in the hands of the law, and when I mean the law, I mean like the governmental laws and stuff like that. But when we are looking at it from a nature standpoint, you should be trying to protect all the time, in my opinion. So I know some people may disagree, but that's why we are having this live. We are just trying to explain, but what do you think a man is? So if you have a difference in opinion, please just jump on then and request, and then we can discuss it further. But yeah, that's how I feel about it, sir.
Okay, and your 5 minutes is up.
Okay,
Let me
thank you.
see if there's anybody who has requested. Man K Brand has requested.
How are you guys?
My guy, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Before you go, Ash, man, I'd like to propose something. In terms of structure, right? So you guys have the three things, basically protection, leadership, and provision. So to avoid what happened last time, which was a big learning curve, the issue was that some people were new to the live as the live carried on, and then people came in and kept on saying the same thing over and over. So we could have gotten more info, more input when that. So I was suggesting that you guys have the structure, the three things: leadership, protection, and provision. Let's start with provision. Let's talk about provision. Then after a certain time, then we move to leadership, then we move to protection. And then whoever then comes in later on in the live, that's what we're talking about specifically to that in the way that you guys want us to talk about it and the questions around it. For instance, leadership. How does one become a leader? How do we call a man a leader? Or what is the definition of a leader? Then we can move on after 4 or 5 people talk about it. Then we can say, what does a leader do as a man? So that at least we have, in the next 2-3 hours, we can literally get a lot of things discussed. I don't know if you understand me.
Where were you on Monday?
Okay, this is supposed to take.
I was
This is
there on
supposed to
Monday.
take about. Yeah, this is supposed to take minimum an hour, a max 2. So leadership, providing, protection, those are not the things that we're discussing. So what we're discussing is 3 things, you write. It's attributes or characteristics of a man. The second one is functions of a man. So you give attributes, and like you don't just mention the attribute. You explain it and even give an example if you can. You don't just give the function, you explain it and even give the examples if you can, and also show its limitations, how far a man can go on it. The third one is to say who in the society is qualified to say you are a man or you are not a man, and why should it be that person or that group of people. Those are the 3 things we're discussing.
Okay, then I hear you. So I then say, let's take an average of an hour and a half. So let's take those 3 and discuss the first thing in the first 30 minutes and so on. So that, because if a person comes on the live an hour later, right, because that's when they find the live, they would come back to what we discussed at the beginning, and then there won't be any continuation. I don't know. It's just a suggestion, guys.
Ash, I think we can try it. What do you think?
Yeah, I just don't like changing things on the spot because we had a whole entire live to discuss these things. Hello.
Yeah, it means he left before we could close the live last time. So maybe for precedence, we should take it as a suggestion, but we should not implement it on this live.
No problem.
Yes. All right, but thanks a lot,
Okay.
Wena, what's your opinion, first of all? Please just enlighten us.
So the first one was said the attributes or the characteristics. Okay, so with the characteristics, for me, It's again, like I said last time, it's got nothing to do with society, nothing to do with anything. It has to come from you. So the first thing and general thing that has to be done is discipline. Discipline becomes the very first characteristic of anything. You cannot be successful, you cannot be a leader, you cannot be a protector if you yourself cannot discipline yourself in terms of providing for yourself, you disciplining yourself, you protecting yourself first. You can't do to others or lead yourself without going the extra mile for you to actually understand that discipline in you. The second attribute is fulfilling that within yourself first. Do everything for yourself first. You cannot take care of somebody else if you yourself can take care of yourself in any form of nature or form, or whether it's financial, protection, leadership, and all of that. And you also spoke about leadership in terms of it's in us as leadership, but a man needs to first realize that he actually can become a leader. So the other characteristic is that I find very important is self-awareness and trusting yourself. And if you don't trust yourself and say you are able to do it, you have the ability to do it, then you can't even master doing anything for yourself, never mind for other people. So for me, it's basically discipline, number one. Two is starting to believe in yourself that you can be a man, a man's man. And three is the journey towards practicing those two things over and over until you get them. Before you even move to anything else, before anybody decides if you're a man or not a man, you must first do those two things. That's my take on it.
So yours is that we need to be disciplined. So a man to you is disciplined.
Yes, disciplined. Definitely disciplined.
So
and self-awareness.
So these are two characteristics you've given us, right?
Yeah.
Discipline and self-awareness. What would be the functions?
The functions of discipline is okay. Just explain to me what you mean by functions. When do I use it, or how do I use them?
It does not necessarily have to be the characteristics you've given us, but it's more of, okay, you've given us these characteristics that a man should have them, but now then what should then a man do? What becomes his function? We get that, okay, when we're looking for a man, we should look for somebody who has discipline. You've explained discipline, and you've explained how far it goes, that you can be successful in everything. You've also explained that you need to be self-aware. You need to know who you are, where you stand, and so on. Then now the question that you have not, I think you've not answered is, what are the functions then of this man?
No, the functions would definitely be a protector and a provider. And now the provider and the protector is not only limited to your woman and your family and stuff. It's also the protector of everything that is around you, whether it's nature, whether it's being a leader in every single aspect of the whatever environment is around you. If you see a piece of paper on the ground, be the leader to pick it up. That small act. If you see any child out there, whether it's your child or not your child, your neighbor or not your neighbor, whether it's the guy you hate at work, you must also be willing to protect them and be willing to lead them. And leadership is when you see somebody doing something wrong, going there, stepping up and leading them and telling them this is how we should behave as human beings. So the two functions, the main functions, is leadership and protection. That's for me. And then provision would come in third. Provision of information, provision of your basic needs, provision of understanding, provision of comfort. So it's provisions of safety, whether emotionally or physically as well.
Okay. Ash, do you have anything to say?
Not for now. I think I am with him. I think I am with him for now. But let's hear the other gents. We've got two more people on the request list. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Menke. Thank you very much, Menke.
No stress, man. Thanks, man.
Bashe,
Hi, Bahle, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
we're good,
All
man.
right,
We're
we're
good.
good, sir. So we're having
Please
a
get on the
discussion
topic.
around three things.
Okay.
Okay.
I will speak about since I've heard you speaking about the men and the words that are used to oppress the men. So allow me not to say the functions of a man, because functions of a man are obvious. It's protect and
Not to me.
sorry.
I'm saying not to me.
Hello. Okay.
I can hear you,
I'm
Bashe.
just speaking of. Okay, I'm just speaking of nature. The functions of the men are to protect and provide. But the society and the government has led us to perceive a man the wrong way, to make us weak,
Bashe,
to oppress us, as you say. Hello.
Bashe. We
Hello.
are not discussing. We are not discussing what the society has done. We are not discussing
Yeah.
what the government has done. We are discussing
Yeah.
what are attributes of a man, what are functions of a man, who can judge and say this is a man and that is not. Why should it be that person or group of people? What qualifies them to do so? That's all we are discussing. What the government has done, what the society is doing, is not what we are discussing.
Okay, I think
So,
I'm in a wrong platform because we're discussing obvious things. What are the functions of a man? Those are obvious things. So I think I'll just get out because those are obvious things.
No,
but
please stay
before you
on.
go out, I'm just curious. When you say they're obvious, what do you mean? Which ones are obvious? Give me the obvious ones.
A man has to protect and provide. It has always been
Protect who?
that way. From
Protect who?
protect the family, let me just go broad. Protect the family, protect the country, protect everything that brings threat to whatever the security, the wealth, and the health of the society and the country.
Why should it be a man that does this? Is he immune or invincible to danger? Can't he die? Why should he be the one protecting? And who is protecting the man that you're saying it's obvious that he has to protect others? Who is protecting him?
Okay, let me first answer you when you say why it is a man. It is a divine gift from God that a man has to provide. It's a nature. You can argue with any reason.
Bashe, one of the rules we have on this life is that we don't use religion to reason. Because if you use your God, I'm gonna speak against him, and then it would be an insult to your religion. So let's not use religion to reason. Yes.
Okay,
So
let
why should
me
be a
not
man
use.
that does this?
It's a nature, and most people knows it. Everyone knows it. If you don't know it, go to the jungle and just see what protects a female animal. If you go if you check the kingdom of lions, a lion protects the jungle. It's not the woman that protects the jungle. It's a male lion.
Did you know that in a fight of wolves, a wolves go underneath the neck of the female wolf goes underneath the neck of a male wolf to protect the male wolf. So it's the female wolf that protects the male wolf. Did you know that?
If we will argue about that, it will be your word against mine. I'm just saying what the nature and most people know, that a man should protect and provide. That it has always been that way. Yes.
Okay, Bashe. Ash, do you have anything to say?
Only a lot of questions, but I would rather not.
Well, one more thing. One more thing. Can I add one more thing? Okay, the guy's gonna ask you. I will answer if I can. If you look at the physical the physical appearance or the physical strength of a man, And if you compare it with the physical strength of a woman, men are built strong. Mentally, physically, they are built strong, even emotionally. I'm not saying by that women should abuse men. I'm just stating the fact that most people knows. Amadoda are strong. Okay.
Okay, Bahle. Thank you very much for your input. Let's let in another speaker. Ash.
Please don't leave, Bahle. Please don't leave the live. Ne, Felanje uhlale kwi comments and stuff. Okay.
Okay, ngizotala ama comment.
All right. Thank you very much. You are more than welcome. You are not at the wrong place. You are a man, so you should be here. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
Okay, let me accept. Let me see. And please accept me for 1 minute before they speak. Ukutops. You know, when I Ash, the reason maybe it might sound like I was being harsh, and I was not. The reason I was asking the questions I was asking to Sbahle, we keep saying it's nature. We keep saying it's natural. There was a time when it made sense that a man should protect, because we're living in like man cave days, right? So strength was everything. The agility was everything. Like it helped you to hunt. The testosterone made you acute to do all these duties that you had to do as a man. But times have changed. So I don't know if it's okay to use the definitions and the reasons of man cave days and of our forefathers to define modern man, to define man of today. That's why I was asking these questions, because if you're going to say it's nature, prove how nature then makes this a thing. In a world where there's technology, where there's guns, where there's number of ways, like plethora of things or ways in which a woman and a man can use to protect themselves. If you're going to say a man has a duty to provide, there was a time when men were the only people working, were the only people who had access to resources. And those days have changed. Now we compete with women for jobs. Women can provide for themselves and can do almost anything we can financially do as men. So when you come in and say provide, please elaborate to say, what is it exactly that a man needs to provide today? A man of today, what is it that he needs to provide? If you speak of protection, also explain, a man of today, what is it that he needs, who is it that he needs to protect and how? So that we can understand clearly that, okay, this is the person that this man is protecting. And this is the reason this man has to protect this man. And also to protect this person. And also, why should it be this man? Oh yeah, the last one. Who is protecting the very man you're talking about, you giving the responsibility or the duty to protect others too?
Yeah, no, I understand. So I think that's clear. That should be clear for everyone in the comments now. We'll revisit it again.
That helps.
Quick. I think Izola, I've mentioned something on that meeting, was it on Monday? Towards the end of this live, we must come up with a clear definition together. So what in the level of which was this, and I'm trying to do that now. Tinabangaphandle, and this request, Tinabangaphandle, and this request until Sigqibe. I'm trying to find out is into esivumelana ngazo. Like it says mentioned anyway, your provision or whatever, who's divided together, and then I'm trying to look what akho mntu ongaphandle it is ababini abathathu. We put this thing together, then siyaziba ke ngoku senza based on uvumelana kwethu, sense siyaziba sine definition yethu esiphuma nayo kulo live.
Teda Ash?
No, I'm not saying anything.
Okay, the tops. I don't know if you are satisfied with e provision okanye protection, okanye what's the other thing that was said? It's providing, it's protecting, it's leadership. You are satisfied with the way that they came through, or maybe we should accept them and have a separate live where we discuss what it is or who it is that we're protecting, and what are the limitations of this protection that we have to give to others, and who is protecting us. Like define, maybe we should have a live, a separate live where we talk simply about protection. Another one, we talk simply about leadership. Another one where we break it down, because I fear that we're taking the very terms or words that are also used to oppress us as men. As indoda, it's a must indoba umzekelo xa i-relationship ingasucceed kuzawuthiwa it's because you provide a bad leadership. Not keeping in mind that the person you were leading is an independent adult whom is a leader of self. So they were not simply following your rules. They were making their own decisions as the relationship was going. So to me, it always appears as if one is running away from accountability when they say it was because as a man he couldn't lead. So before we accept such terms, I want us to understand that the very terms are used to oppress us.
Inatsika yam Anele is this one, bra. I'm not saying we sithatha yonke into because sivumelana, uyabo. But first let us gather yonke into esibona ba ingathi siyavumelana ngayo, based on ukuvumelana kwethu and nezinatsika ezirezinto ngozibekayo. We can then say we don't accept this one, we don't accept this one, we accept this one because of these reasons. Then therefore here is our definition of man.
Ashbra and but moving forward,
what are you saying, Put?
No, I know. I was just telling Ash that I don't like him. But thank you very much, Setrops. Let's let in another speaker. I hope people are writing out there. I don't know who will be writing. But we will need people to write down the points that these wonderful speakers are making. Points. Come on, why are you disturbing me? The wonderful points that these speakers are making. We'll need people to write them down so that at the end of the live we can put them together and see where we agree or disagree and what definition we come up with. Because tonight we have to leave this topic. This is the last time we having this topic. Right, Ash?
Yeah, now. So this is the last time you're gonna define what a man is. Next time we're gonna have another discussion about men. But yeah. So
okay,
Frotman, we're starting into the three. I'm sure you heard what we are talking about. So
Yeah, gents. Thank you so much, Molweni Nonke. Look, I was starting by saying these three characteristics or attributes that have been put forward, I can break them down as protection, provision are a building block to build a leader. I've got this belief that a man is built, right? From esemncinci uyamakha umntana oyindoda. So uzosifeko's attributes aziphelelanga kwezi protection no provision, but there's accountability as well that comes with that. Indoda uyakha because you need to be accountable to yourself to begin with. You need to be able to protect yourself. You need to provide for yourself before you're able to move and provide for yourself. So I'll speak from the point of a married man. One, I have taken umntana womntu. One, it is one of my responsibility to ensure that I provide an environment that is conducive for them. That is provision. I haven't provided food. I haven't provided anything, but it's the environment that they're able to live with me. 2, in providing, I have to make sure these people they're able to eat, they've got a shelter. It is your responsibility, as indoda etshatile. I know that your responsibility can be used, or it can have a connotation that it will be used as a word to oppress. But in the other side of it, there is into funeka ungumntu ube responsibility, so as accountability. You are responsible for someone else, but you are responsible for yourself. We're talking about these building blocks. You're trying to build a man. So if you're gonna be leaving out certain attributes in building a man, how do you build a leader? Because all these small attributes that we have are built on are building blocks for building a leader. A man is a leader. Is someone who needs to make sure that everything that happens behind him, he leaves a trail whereby in the future you'll be remembered as utata uyakwazi xa ebuya emsebenzini afike asifundise athi make sure there's food on the table. Utata xa ebuya emsebenzini he makes sure uba sinayo ishelter endlini, siyasilala sikuvaliwe, sisafe. These attributes ezifuneka sizisebenzisile ukwakha indoda. I think that's our whole aim. Asikafiki ku-mental health yendoda, asikafiki kwezinye izinto, but uqala ngezinto ezincinci, because awukwazi ukunantsika ukwakha indlu ungenawo amanzi, ungenawo isanti, unezitena. So that's my 2 cents of building towards a man.
Ash, do you have any questions?
I'm just gonna. Who teaches men how to lead, my guy? I understand that you're saying men are leaders and stuff and all of that, but sazinjanuba, a man is actually doing a good job leading. Sometimes you can find that you are leading people to a dead end, or you are leading people to their deaths. So who's going to monitor the type of leading that a man does? Who monitors that?
To answer your question, why should it be that person? Why should it be that person that monitors that?
1, it starts with the interaction that we have with the people and the people that you surround yourself with. Because as I said, you are responsible for yourself in the beginning to know what is right and what is wrong. If you don't know, how cannot identify what is right, what is wrong by yourself, you cannot identify the right people to associate yourself with. You see abantu who are grooming and growing abantwana babo ngendlela right, because you know what is right when. It's important to understand that yintoni right ungumntu before you identify abantu who are surround yourself. And the interactions as obanazo as nika feedback wena kala, because before someone else casts a judge on you, but the interactions as unazo.
Mnombuzo wam Khotman, andazi ba Ash uphendlekile na. Uphendlekile Ash?
Cha.
Yeah?
Cha.
Unenye indlela ongamphendula ngayo Khotman? You've got a minute left.
Yeah, then it is nguwe or responsible to see that you know what is right and what is wrong. That's the right answer. If you don't know what is right and what's wrong, there's no one that is responsible to tell you that you are in the right path. But you know yourself that you're on the right path by associating yourself with abantu aba relevant in life. When people will see that they are growing, they are making things happen in life, good life zam. Before abantu will tell you are right or wrong.
Okay.
Ndiyayiva netata, but nansi ingxaki. Ingxaki uba kukho amadoda akhula endlini kungekho tata ekhaya. Akho mntu ozawuba leader ababonise abafundise uba yintoni right yintoni irongo. So kukho abantu abayenza izinto ezimbi ezibad becinga ukuba zirayithi ezo zinto abazenzayo. So I understand what you're trying to say, but what of the situations where amadoda, they think they are doing right things, ekubeni they are doing the wrong things? Who's supposed to monitor them in that case? Because you can't trust yourself as a person. Sometimes ucinga uba wenza into right kanti wenza into wrong.
ixesha likaRhotmane liphelile. We'll
Okay.
have to let in another speaker. But Khotmane, you can respond to what Ash is saying on the comment section. We will read it. I hope somebody is doing a screen record. Or should I do a screen record? Ish, but it's a bit late now. Should I?
I had actually asked for the Sunday because we need to upload on YouTube as well, so that
it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's already on YouTube. My apologies. My apologies. So, okay. They're saying it's never too late. So let me do a screen record. So uKhotmane ngase epha kwi-comment section ne aphendule lo mbuzo wakho Ash. And on top of that, my question to him is this. He says uthatha umntana womuntu. So he speaks as if it's those days where women used to be taken into marriage without their desire or will, without consultation. But now, if we understand that times have changed, women marry people they want to marry. So you're not taking her, but rather you are taking each other into a marriage. Do you understand, Ash? Like you're getting married to each other. So what then justifies the responsibility he puts on top of a man that because you're a man, you have to build for this person that is marrying you, even though, guys, my beautiful lady is saying I shouldn't screen record because there won't be sound. So, you know, when that's not the topic. So when you're taking this woman, a moderator should do it, guys.
Yeah,
a moderator should do it. Okay, so my issue with these definitions, they are limiting. Like they make it sound like because you're marrying someone, then you have to build a house for them. It does what we're trying to run away from, Ash. The oppression on men and the detriments that come to a man's health. You understand? Yeah, but if maybe somebody understands it a bit different than I do, which why we should, because Kamama wants to marry me and I want to marry her. Why should I be the one building the house? Why can't we build a house together? If somebody has an understanding of why that should be the case, I'd appreciate in the comment section. Let's let in another guest. Molo, what are the attributes of a man or characteristics of a man? What are the functions of a man? And ngubani okwaziyo uthi yabona lu yindoda okanye hayi akayondoda, and kutheni kufuneka ibe ngulo muntu okanye ibe ngabo bantu?
Nento ethile ekhombisayo uba uyindoda lo muntu uhlukile kanjani kumuntu ongusisi. Ndicinga ke into yoba indoda ngumntu ke oye athi xa acinga into ezipositive ngendlela entoba yonke into ayicingayo ucinga into ephumelelayo, yabo. Ndicinga uba umsebenzi wendoda ke into yoba ikhusele and futhi iqeqeshe abantwana. Yabona into ebalulekileyo futhi endodeni into yoba kufuneka ihloniphe okokuqala izokwazi ukufundisa intlonipho emntaneni wayo ezothi ikwazi umkhulisa, nokuthi ke ikwazi ukukhusela usapho lwayo ngentlonipho nabo bakwazi ukuhloniphana. Indoda ndicinga uba ngumntu ongazukwazi uba akwazi uba ahlukumeze abantwana nomfazi wakhe nabafazi bokufana nomntu ongumama nje wonke general. Ngumntu oyindoda lo owenza izinto. I-responsibility ke zomntu oyindoda yintoni batakwethu? Ndicinga uba i-responsibility yendoda yinto uba lo mntu lona kufuneka enze sure into yoba uyalikhusela njengoba besenditshilo usapho lwakhe nefamily yakhe actually, because uyindoda xa uzawukwazi ukucinga into yoba noba ngabana ushota kangakanani mhlawumbe utata akasekho ekhaya ube yindoda ume ekhaya umele ikhaya abantu odadewenu bangathi befunda basokola ukhona yabona ubudoda oko into yoba utsindo xa uyindoda ukwazi ukuzehlisa so ubona uba ingathi urongo laa mntu kodwa ube nexesha lokucinga into yoba hayi mani make ndinike i-benefit of a doubt ke ndehlise umoya ndingawunyusi umoya noba kunasidingo yabona mhlawumbi uzawuthi xa uyicingisisile le nto later ukwazi ukumbamba lo mntu usondeze lo mntu ocanga ukuba umehlisi uba hayibona
Vuyane, ixesha 3 minutes yakho iphelile. Ukhona umntu onombuzo kuVuyane for le nto ayithetha ngale kule nto ayithethayo? Ash, do you have any question?
No, sir. I'm okay for now.
Okay. Vuyane, you can continue for 2 minutes.
Point eyi-1 ke madoda iyi-1 nje izohamba.
You can continue for 2 minutes.
Bendifuna uchaza into yoba ayo-responsibility yendoda into yokondla umntu ongatshatanga naye. For example, lo mcimbi wokubheja ke bantakwethu noko ayo-responsibility andithi singayenzi kodwa okusalayo ayo-responsibility yethu into yokufida amantombazana. Enkosi.
Okay. Ash, do you have anything to say?
Okay. So I think I'm going to agree with the last part that he said there, that are your responsibility as a man to provide or can you to feed, to offer provision for someone that you are not married to. I think what he just did there is established a limit. But okay, men can provide, but there's a limit. The limit would be you only provide for people that are actually within your household. Umkako, umfazi wakho, not my girlfriend in London. So I think he's trying to protect us from going overboard. And then we have broke men that don't have money, that feel invalidated, that feel as if they are not men enough. So I think that's what he was saying there at the end, and I would agree with that last part.
You know, when we speak of provision, when I ash, my fear and my worry is always this part. There's men who are good men in the society. If there's a funeral, they're the first to arrive. If somebody died, they're the first to arrive, and they would go and dig. If there's anything that needs to be done, if, like, for example, there's a ritual at a certain house, they are there to slaughter the cow. They are there to do whatever that needs to be done. But these people don't have jobs, are not working. And our female counterparts would go as far as calling these people useless, would go as far as calling these people not men. That's how your daughter, because they would even ask questions like, what have you done for me? Or what can you do for me? So whenever we use this word, a man has to provide, I cringe inside, because I think of our uncles that can't provide financially. That's why I keep saying, if you're going to use words like provide, protect, lead, you then need to break them down so that we understand what you actually mean and what are the limits. But let's let in another speaker if you don't have anything to say.
Yeah, so I have a lot to say, but I'd rather just, for the sake of letting people engage, I want everyone to voice out their opinions so that we can understand how generally Abantu in public really think, So yeah, please let in the next speaker.
Sure.
Good evening.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'll be very fast. A man is an adult male human being who's characterized by the presence of a Y chromosome. Anything outside that is now a specific type of man. So a man doesn't have to be a husband to qualify as a man, meaning the whole provision may apply to a husband, but does not necessarily apply to men in general. A man doesn't have to be a boyfriend to qualify as a man. So a man can be a man in his singularity, in the absence of anyone around him. He is a man by anatomy, by nature. Whether he is able to provide or not, that is now subjective to his specific role as a particular man. Peradventure, as a husband, he will assume certain roles over and above just being a man. He then assumes husband roles. But even if you subtract the husband roles, the boyfriend roles, he still remains a man simply based on his anatomy. Because the moment we start putting pressure that a man must do this, must do that, we then create a paradox within ourselves to say, so if a man can't provide, does he cease to become a man? He still remains a man, whether he provides or not, right? And again, what is provision? At what point, what level of provision qualifies one as a man? Because provision can be 1 rand, can be 100,000 rand. So that's a whole other societal pressure. But a man is a man simply because he has the anatomy of a man. Whether society defines him as useless, non-provider, or whatever, those are now labels. And those labels are now specific roles within being a man. So you can be a man and a husband, but doesn't mean everyone has to be that way. You can be a man and a father. So now a man who is a father now has to start teaching other generations. But a man who is not a father, a youth, doesn't have that pressure. So if you assign that pressure to him, then you've already placed him on a path that he has to choose whether he decides to become a father. So you can still become a man at 60 without kids and live a bachelor life and enjoy yourself. That doesn't disqualify you from being a man, as long as you identify with your Y chromosome, as long as your anatomy and your hormonal makeup qualifies you, you are a man.
Dr. Phiri.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your session. I understand where you're coming from. The Y chromosome. It's when we started the live, I read those and they were given. So we're discussing it from a philosophical point of view, defining a Black South African man. That is the context. We're defining a Black South African man. So we know that, yes, he'll have a Y chromosome. He'll be an adult male. We know those. But now, in our society or amongst ourselves as Black South African men, how do we then define ourselves? That becomes the question.
All right. The reason why I chose this definition is because all other definitions already place a woman involved. So based on all the other definitions, it means a man in his entirety, right, cannot survive or does not have a definition of his own unless it is assigned to a particular role which is involved by someone else. So it means then we are now shifting to then say meaning that our weight as men is defined by the women around us or by the expectation of the other people around us. So I chose that definition even from a philosophical point of view so that I could separate the entirety of the man himself. While it is true there are duties which naturally or primarily seem to have aligned themselves to be considered male duties, they are too subjective. And once those are used to define even the South African man, then at the end of the day, what will happen is there will be a pedestal that will be placed on this South African man. And if he falls short, does that then question his manship?
Your time, Ash is saying, is up, Dr. Phiri, I'm afraid. I hope you're gonna stay on the live and we're gonna go forward with this. I do believe with great minds like yours, we're gonna find a definition we all agree in or agree with. And we're gonna take it forward to our coming lives so that can everybody hear me? My network is
low. We can hear you.
Ash, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So that we can help each other on these topics. Thank you very much, Dr. Phiri.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
That was amazing, Dr. Phiri. Well done on that. You made very, very good justice. Yeah, so I think Dr. Piri was just trying to run away from social pressures and social expectations. That's why he only gave his definition pertaining only to biology, because no one can argue against biology. But let's remember, guys, we are trying to find who we are in today's reality. We don't live with lions and stuff in the jungle. We live in a time where you have to work, where there's other people involved. We live together cohesively with other people. So we are trying to ask the question, what is a man and a man's characteristics, functions within today's society where there's so many things that are involved in our lives?
Yeah, it's true. We can't. It's what I've been saying, Ash, and I feel I've been saying this. When we define a man, if we're gonna come in with duties, we should be clear on these duties are to who. You understand? Like, why should he do these things, and who should he do them for? I even mentioned the word limits. Like, what are the limits of these things that we say define a man? And I made an example. We keep saying provision, but because our uncles at home don't have jobs, they don't have the financial muscle, are often said not to be man. And it is exactly because of such definitions that as a man you should provide. So when we have an opportunity to define ourselves, I think we owe it to ourselves to make sure that we break the shackles, we break the chains, and we define ourselves with freedom. I don't know if I make sense, but I'll let in the following speaker. Let me see. Lazy Poet. I hope it makes sense, Ash. Are you still there? Oh, he's on the phone.
No, I'm here.
Okay. Lazy Poet, are you good? Lazy Poet, you can't be here to just look good, man. You have to say something. Going once, going twice, gone. Lazy Poet, when you get a chance, please request again. Maybe you're having network issues. Is it him? Or is it me?
Yeah, no, it is
Before I
him.
remove
It's
him.
not you. It's him. Yeah, it's him.
Okay.
I see Jabulani in the
As guys,
house.
ngizorasela abantu ebusuku bafuna ukulala.
We'll finish maybe at 10 o'clock. We'll finish. Okay. Please accept the next speaker. So again, just a
I'm
refresher.
trying. The
Again, just a
network is not
reminder,
allowing.
guys. Oh, okay. All right. So just a reminder and refresher, we are talking about today, what are the functions of a man? What are those characteristics? And who in society or in the spirit world or anywhere around is qualified to tell us whether this is a man truly indeed, or Ganya, this is not a man indeed.
That's it.
Whoa.
Oh, you don't want women?
Sorry, Siswam, we don't take. No, we don't take women.
Oh, I thought you said.
Please take the next speaker.
Yeah, I've taken the next speaker. I'm sorry, Siswam, we don't take women. It's one of the rules. Senzo, how are you?
Ngiyaphila njani bafowethu?
Yeah, Pila. Senzo, in the next 3 minutes, please give us characteristics of a man or attributes of a man. Give us functions of a man, and tell us who has a right to judge, to say this one is a man or that one is not, and why should it be that person or that group of people.
Okay.
Your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay. Ngicabanga ukuthi I'll try to keep it a simple and straightforward, although it's not that straightforward. Okokuqala, our definition of a man are very subjective because most of it we draw it from our frame of reference. Okay, but ngingathi we cannot run away from its definition from the natural point of view, which involves a physiological make of a man. So, which affects how a man functions, how a man thinks, how a man carries himself. And secondly, it's our natural principles that guides in nature and somehow a man. We cannot run away from that. As men, we are also, as people in general, we are animals, but we are gifted with better intelligence compared to animals. So our physiological making is also guided by these principles. And what I'm trying to say is that as a man, we are territorial beings. I'll say that. So we provide, from our nature, we provide security. And when I talk about security, I talk in the physical sense of things, also in the financial sense of things, because we are living in an environment that where we are expected to provide financial, and that also is supported by our nature to provide security, not only for ourselves but for everyone around us. That's, I think I'll just keep it at that. I won't go any further.
All right. Can you please just summarize
So
those
you
characteristics for us? Did you say what men are territorial and men are providers? Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Okay. What are they territorial over?
Okay. By territorial, I mean that naturally we want to provide security. When I say security, when I say territorial, that involves family. That's the first. And from the family, it expands to community. From the community, then it expands further. But if you look at history of human beings, mostly it was men who are mostly at the forefront of providing security, be it for livelihood, or be it protection, security in terms of protection.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off, but my brother, what about today? Let's talk about within today's society, because men feel oppressed, and men feel like they are trash and they are called abusers and useless in today's world. How can a man find pride in himself being a man? What are the things that a man can do and stick to that will define him as a man truly indeed in today's society?
I think one of the things that are affecting us in today's society is that when we define ourselves as men, we do not start at the level of being human. That's where I feel like we do not need anyone to define us as human, but we need to go back to ourselves and define ourselves as human. Because everything, I believe that everything begins within. So what we have within ourselves cannot be taken away by what the society says or what the society does. Yes, we cannot ignore all the negative stuff that is all the negative stuff that is said about men. But also, if we have a clear definition of who we are, no one is going to take that away that from us as men. So it all goes back to ourselves, finding ourselves and knowing ourselves as human beings, and above that, knowing our identities as men and what it means for us to be men, and to find our place in the society. Because I feel like we are being displaced by all the negativity that is around men.
Senzo.
Yeah.
Your time is unfortunately up.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senzo. Thank you.
Okay, as we are talking, as we're going forward, before I let in a speaker, okay, you can talk.
I just want to maybe just summarize something for Uzuko. I think Usenzo, Senzo, in the comments, please respond in the comments. Do you think that we know that the identity of men has always been attached to them being providers and protectors? In today's world, women are allowed to work and make their own money, can buy guns and protect themselves because they have that protection. So, do you think that men's identity as providers has become redundant in today's world? Do you think we should still be defining men as providers and protectors in a world where women are able to do that for themselves by paying money for a security company or whatever? Please just help me out in the comments there, Senzo.
When he does that, may he also check what he said about men being territorial, because I fear we're gonna make it sound okay for men who refuse to be dumped when a woman is saying it's over, or for men who tell women where they can and can't go. Those controlling men, those possessive men, those men who go around beating people because you smiled at their girlfriend, or their girlfriend smiled back at you, and then they would beat their girlfriend for that, or they would beat you for that. I fear we're gonna create a situation where it looks like it's okay to do that. It's okay to be that territorial. When we go around saying men have to provide, and we make this thing of men being providers a prerequisite, a must, I keep saying we have uncles at home who don't have jobs. We have brothers who are educated, they keep applying, but they're not getting employment. And the climate in South Africa is saying jobs are very scarce. Are we then saying these are not men? Situations beyond their control put them in a case or situation where they can't have jobs, meaning they can't have the financial muscle to then provide. Do we say these are not men? If we say manhood is attached to what you can provide for others, what happens in a situation where you can provide everything for yourself? You have a house for yourself, you have a car, you can buy food for yourself, but you only have enough for yourself. Do you stop being a man? I'm asking these questions because I want us to be mindful of oppressing ourselves or adding to our pain. And there's a line that keeps coming up: in our nature, it's natural. Which brings the question to me. If you're gonna say it's natural, were you born that way, or as you were growing up, it was instilled in you? Because if it was instilled in you as you were growing up, then it means you were nurtured or raised to be that. You were raised to believe that you have to protect. You were raised to believe that you have to provide. You were raised to believe that you have to do all these things. It's like, I'll make an example with a girl. It's like a girl that is raised by parents who force her to clean, wash the dishes, look after her brothers. She will grow up knowing that it is her duty to do that. It's her duty. So she will grow up knowing it. And then when she's old, it will maybe be used to define her that because you're a woman, you have to cook. But it doesn't mean it's natural. It's just that it's the way that person is raised. I don't know, Ash, do I make sense? Maybe I'm fumbling.
No, you're doing the things, but let's allow Jabulani. Jabulani is quite an expert on these things, so I'm waiting to hear his opinion. Right, just a refresher again, we are talking about the characteristics of a man, what is a function of a man, and who in society is employed or elected to judge, to say this is truly a man or this is not a man indeed. My brother?
Yeah, Sanborn. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Am I My audible.
You're not talking. You're not talking to your. You're not talking to your girlfriend, Jabulani. Raise up your voice. Phakamisa ilizwi.
Angazi ukuthi ngiyazwakala yini. Can you guys hear?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yeah, we
now.
can hear you.
Ngiyabonga-ke. Ethi ngiyahluleka mina ukukhuluma isiNgisi isikhathi eside. Let me try this. I'm going to put a disclaimer and say I just recently got into this life, and I got in while Dr. Piri was there. And only after you actually let him go, I realized that actually this is not a dialogue, but you are seeking for some sort of an input. And I would have loved for you guys to actually engage him, because for some reason I feel that the subject itself is vague, and without context, it's very difficult to actually jump in and say this is my contribute, right? And because it is not a dialogue and it is some sort of an input, now this input would then be based on what societal norms are, or what society expects one to be, to identify or to be categorized as a man. Now, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, but let me try to say this. In the current society that we live in, then it is easy to say even some women are men. And that is completely based on the fact that if we're going to categorize men as providers, there are women who provide. If we're going to categorize men as security providers, there are women who actually do that. I promise you, a single woman raising a child can provide security just as much as a man can. So does that then mean this woman is a man? That's a question. So this is why I'm saying it's vague, because now if we're going to categorize responsibilities, we're going to categorize men by the manner that which society expects them to be, then we're going to have more women becoming men, and we're going to have more men not being men or not being men at all. Now, will that not then perhaps in other terms make these men that don't qualify, if we put some sort of characteristics to what contributes to becoming a man, then doesn't that actually mentally suppress this man who is let's say incompetent to become categorized in that bracket of what constitutes a man? So I'm just saying that I'm not saying the characteristics, but I'm just putting a disclaimer that I jumped in hoping that there will be a dialogue, but I'm in the wrong life. So perhaps in another instance, when there's a dialogue, then we can debate about it. Naturally, if you look at, I'm going to make it easier by looking at a pride of lions. I'm just going to make it easy that way. A pride of lions, when a male lion gets of age, the big or the big lions, the male lions in that pride, would then chase that young ones away, because instinctively they know that if we keep these young boys here, they will become men or grown lions and they will chase us out. It's not something that they talk about, but instinctively they know that this is what's going to happen. And each and every male lion roaming, looking for a pride, knows that for them to take over that pride, they need to get rid of the current male in that pride. So
Jabulani.
this is so. Yes, sir.
Your time is up.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Ash.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Jabulani has a lot to give. He absolutely has a lot to give. I've had engagements with him, and that's why I felt like he will bring more to the table. But I understand that because of the structure that we have here, it is quite limiting. But let's remember that the aim is to try to pick people's minds, men in society, just to hear how they think or how they perceive themselves in today's world. So we are looking for those short responses, short, quick responses. Just list those characteristics, summarize your thoughts. While you are waiting to request, please summarize your thoughts nicely so that when you come on here, you can give us short, very quick, straight to the point responses. Yeah, so Dr. Piri and Jabulani, they gave quite a lot. No sense on I wanted to really explain in depth, but unfortunately, it will make the live 7 hours. So we are really trying to find quick solutions there. So please forgive us.
And at 10 o'clock we'll be ending the live. Remember,
Yes.
guys, I'm in someone's house.
Why didn't you go to his house?
Two?
Yes, that one.
Two?
The lady's house.
You know, people keep saying a man is subjective. It depends on our backgrounds and so on. And that's true. But that's exactly what we want. We want to hear, like if you were to be asked, give us the top 3 characteristics of a man that you that come to your mind immediately. Just give us, like, without thinking hard, give us 3 characteristics. Give us 3 functions. Give us the last question. I feel like nobody's answering it. Who should then judge that you are a man or you're not a man, and why should it be that person or that group of people? That question, I feel like, is not being asked. It is not being answered. The reason we're doing that is so that when we get to the end, we can take all these answers, all these small attributes that we've been contributing, and all these functions that we've been contributing, we put them together and we say, these are the characteristics we agree on. These are the functions we agree on. And this is the person that we say should then judge if a person is a man or not. Therefore, this is our definition of a man. That's the ultimate goal. Am I missing something, Ash? Is it not so?
It is so, my son. It is so.
Okay, let me let in another speaker. Think that X une problem your network. I think that X une problem your network. The X. Ndiyakuva mkhulu. Khawusincede man. What are the characteristics of a man that you think of quickly, and what are the functions of a man that you can give us? Lastly, who can say that a man is a man or is not a man, and why should it be that person or that particular group of people?
Yamende, it didn't zama ukuphendula, but I don't want to turn the questions. One, yabona, a man that is able to guide young men and boys to become something that would make the environment ongathi uthanda ubona umntwana wakho intombazana ehlala kuyo. That man, you know, I define that man as a man. This is a man because there was a question that was asked by Ash. We came before some of the younger guys that are coming after us, and therefore whatever experience that we experience, we guide them. So a man is that wise guider, is a person that has to be able to guide the young man that is coming behind. So as a man, we do have the responsibility to create that environment where boys and young men feel comfortable as well to share their feeling, expressing their fears, and most importantly, asking for help. There is nothing that beats humility in becoming a man. A no means a no. A no does not mean a silent yes. So that's what I want to come with from the angle where we're saying we are old now, but what about the ones that are coming after us? when we live as men, when we define, we cannot define and limit as well, because young men are struggling to actually live their lives, because some of the definitions that we are putting forward, even some that we're putting forward in this life, are quite limiting for the young men. That is all.
When you say are limiting, what do you mean?
So, for an example, as we grow up, there was this thing of color. You are a strong guy. Come on, stand up. Come on. A man has to do this. A man must. So you find these young people this is how you actually express anger. As a young man, you need to be able to fight your way out. So those are some of the instructions that you get as you grow up. So some of the things is rooted in us, but we took a responsibility to say, no man, let's stand up and see Ndobana. How do we then show these other young men to say, Ndobana, some of these things that you're doing, they've got consequences, and those consequences are the ones that are now making you are not allowing you to express your feelings. Do you understand? So that is my space. And just an announcement when I Nyamende, if you're interested in Ash or whoever else, from the 27th of June to the 8th of July, I'm running a boys session in Joburg South. The whole of that 10 days, it's a 2-hour session in the mornings. So if you're interested, just get in touch with me, because that's what I do.
Send details. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sending details in the DM, bro. You guys,
Please.
you see now Kamama is leaving, so I really we have to end the live so that I can call my person and say
Yeah,
good
I'll
night.
tell you
But
so
moving
often.
forward,
Come on. Respect. Thanks guys for the space. Oh,
Thank you very much,
from
CEO.
thank you,
Thank you very much.
thank you, thank you guys. You know, Ash. Okay. You know, Ash, my fear, we are approaching the end of the live. We're left with 15 minutes. My fear is that the fact that we still have not agreed on a definition of a man,
Yeah.
does it mean we can't define ourselves? Because if it does, then it means we can't complain of the definitions we're being given by the society, because we don't even know who we want to be or who we are.
Yeah.
But let's let in another speaker.
Okay. So I think maybe this might be the last speaker, so that after him, you can summarize sort of what we got from today. So Menke, we already spoke to. So yeah.
Budzuko.
Nkosi yami. Ne-right namhlanje?
Khawuthethe bafo ndisemizini sibali. Khawuthethe.
Nami kudinwa nje uba ndizawuyenza isense iyawuba ziimfefe zikaThixo. Kodwa mandiqale kule ndawo ithi ndizawucela mani ze nithathe ithuba umntu afunde umbongo wawubhalwe ngumqhayi othi umfo endimthandayo. Anele, I think, should be familiar with such. Phayana kukhona izinto ezithethwa ngulaa mntu. Kuba ke engumntu ofundileyo, engumntu ozinzileyo ukuxenga, wathetha ngumntu ongutata athi amthande kwi-community. So xa nibuza uba who should measure this man, or who should hold him accountable to the standards that he has brought up for himself, because ezi standards senza ngokwethu. I believe esi step usithathileyo but Anele usenze mhlawumbi because ubona ilack okanye because ubona indlela esihamba ngayo elahlekileyo. So ke nento ibikhe yathethwa phaa ngusisikamama wathi bayasoyika. Xa kuthethwa ngolaa hlobo itsho ukuthi silahlekiwe yile nto siyithethayo yoba we are protectors, we are providers, and as a result we need to find it. So mna ndithi umntu ongutata le nto kuthiwa yindoda, one, ngumntu ozaziyo
Akho mntu unondimyuthela udrama ngaba yi-5 minutes.
Andisamboni ke ngoku uthetha ngantoni. Ongahambeli kude enyanini, also ongoyikiyo ukujongana notshaba, also ozaziyo ukuba makabakhusele bonke abangekho semandleni wokuzikhusela kwizinto anomelana nazo. Now le nto lena bekuthiwe bakhe bayijonga wathi wena Anele, what if he can just provide for himself, protect himself, abe kanti that's all he can do, akakwazi udlula beyond that? Is he still considered a man? I would say yes, if he does not go around causing a menace for abanye abantu abangakwazi ubaprotecta okanye angakwazi ukubanceda. I think lo mntu lowo we can qualify him as a man because of ukuzimela nokukwenza izinto ezilulutho ezingekho gwenxa eluntwini. Yintoni endiyilibalayo Anele kwezi points bendizibekile apha ekuqaleni? Anele, ikhona ke into endiyilibalayo? Yeka nje uba ndiyilibele, icinga ngenye imini.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Zuko, I think you're the last person probably speakers it, John. I think you're the last person who speakers it. Do we still have abantu abacinga ungena mhlawumbi siyiqukumbele, but andimazi uAsh ukhutshwe yintoni, mhlawumbi ufumane i-call or something. It's in John. Oh, nankubuyi. Andazi Zuko, mna I feel like uxolweni kubakhuluwa kodwa ndiboyika into ibheke phi. I feel like sibhibhidla amazinyo. Aside siye mhlawumbi omnye umuntu uzothi mandenze i-assertion yam into yoba yintoni attributes zendoda, but before ndiyenze loo assertion ndizawuqala kulaa nto ithi as a different backgrounds neza different understandings sithi ngeke sivumelane ngazo, zizi zi-needed in this conversation. Why? Because we're trying to define a Black South African man. So as long as the different attribute or different function that you're bringing is of a different South African man, it then helps us to understand the dimensions and the realities that different South African men have. And in the very definition that we're trying to find, it means we have to encapsulate zonke ezi dimensions nezi realities that are faced by Black South African men. So the different does not mean wrong and is very much welcome, because isinceda into yoba sisondele kumntu wonke oyindoda, ophangelayo, ongaphangeliyo, onawo amandla oprotect, ongenawo, like zonke izinto sizi-understand. So I didn't think we'll be arguing into yoba hayi ingxaki will be coming from different views. Wait, that's what we want. My 2 cents in this is wena Zuko nawe Ash, a Black South African man is a sober-minded man. And sithi sober-minded, that's an attribute. A sober-minded man ngumntu okwazi uzikisa ukucinga ngesintu. Okwesibini, une-integrity. Now, integrity comes with a backbone. It means even if you have to be the only one doing a thing, you will do it if it's right. even if you will be hated for it, but if it's right, you're going to do it. Even if mhlawumbi ngelinye ixesha ingakwenza ubuhlekwe ngabantu okanye ubizwe ngamagama ngabantu, if it's a right thing, you're going to do it. That's integrity. That is having a backbone. Into yoba xa soyikhombile indlela okanye wathi into ethile ndiyayenza okanye into ethile inje and uyayazi be right, asizukuthandabuza. We know that you're going to do it, and we know that you're going to keep your word on it. That's the second attribute. I-backbone i-backbone ne-integrity zihamba zombini, because andiqondi uzawukwazi uba ne-integrity ungakwazi uba nomqolo. That's the second one. The third one is umntu one progressive mindset. Xa ndisithi progressive mindset, I mean if udibana nento edinga ukukhuliswa, uyayikhulisa. If udibana nento edinga ukukhuselwa, uyayikhusela. So your contribution to the society should be positive, should be progressive. These are the three things that define a man. Remember, we're not trying to make a man different from a woman, but we're trying to find a man that we as South African men, we want to be, and we want to be seen as. And if we were to be asked about what manner of man do you want to be, this is the assertion we would make, that Tina classes define as city singababantu. So these are the three attributes. Then I will go to the functions and say, the functions are to be protective, primarily of self. You have to protect yourself, your mental health, physically and otherwise. That's the first person you owe protection to. The second person that you have to protect is your children and every child that you know. You have to protect that child. That's the second person that I think you owe protection to, or people that I think you owe protection to. It is often said that you have to protect women too. In my view, women are our equals. Yes, I know one will argue that we have strength than they do. We have a high muscular mass. We have high bone density. So it means we can fight better than they do. It means we can do better physical stuff than they can. But there are other areas where women have strength than we do. And I would want to engage women as equals. So when I look at it from a view that, do women protect men? Do they protect our mental health? Do they protect our emotions where we seem to be lacking? Yes, physically we're built strong, but these are areas we are often said to be lacking. Hence, the rate of suicide is high in the side of men. It's because emotionally and mentally, we are not said to have a lot of strength. So then I look at women as equals. And instead of saying I owe to protect them, or we owe to protect them, I feel we owe to protect ourselves first from them. And then we owe to ourselves to make sure that we have women around ourselves who can protect us. Then we protect them. We protect women in areas where they can't protect themselves, and they protect us in areas where we can protect themselves. So I wouldn't say it's a responsibility we have to protect them, but it's a responsibility we have to protect those that are around us. That's my assertion. You can argue it if you want. The third one, who has a right to say you are a man or you're not a man, and why should it be that person? In my view, one, it is yourself. Two, it is other men. The reason it is yourself and other men, it's because only a man would know the journey of a man, would know the realities of a man. For example, if you checked the comments that have been coming in. They were coming from a point of view that says, this is what we expect as men. I think Uzama said that, I know what I expect from man. So you will be judged by a woman from her expectations of you. Meaning, if she, like, that is why we suffer cases where a man is said not to be a man because he can't give a woman imali yokwenza intloko, can't give a woman imali to do whatever. And because you can't do these things, then you will meet a question or you refuse, even if you nayo le mali, you refuse to do it. Or omalume bethu that are at home and not working would then be told that abango madoda because they don't have the expectations that women want from them. So if we let women, in my view, if we let women define men and measure manhood, they would always define us and measure us from their benefits. That's my assertion. You guys can come in.
Zuko?
Yeah, Buddha. No, Anel, I think uzakakuhle. I think ohlobo ubeka ngalo sinako ukuthi even if zikhona izinto that will be zawuphikiswa ngabantu abathile, izoba zizinto ezimbalwa, and I don't think they're going to change much, even if singathi nomnye umntu makaphinde athathe unyathelo atsho yakhe imvo. For me, andiqondi bikhona into esohlukene kuyo gqithi. It's just nje actually I think siyavana even on that one. No, siyavana butwa. Siyavana mandingakumoshi.
Yeah, so from me on my side, I think the concern is worth a lot. We are trying to find a definition that is not going to oppress men. We are trying to find a definition that is not going to put too much pressure on Amajita. We are trying to inspire men to feel motivated, and also at the same time not to feel too under pressure. So that's why I understand the sentiments that you are coming from. We really should be trying to think of words and ways and things that, inspire instead of depress men, So we are just trying to fit in this new world that we are living in today, and it's absolutely difficult. So I like what somebody said. I think Uzinja said this. It's like, we're not gonna come out with a clear definition after 2 sittings. We really need to sit down, have conversations, and more and more and more. Remember, we said on Sunday that this is a journey of 1,000 miles. We have only just taken the first step. So we are just trying to find our footing right now. Sinjengabantwana abakhasayo siyakhasa ngoku. After a while, we'll start walking nyana, sibhalansa ngamasofa nyana, and then we'll learn how to be, men at the end of the day. So we are all just trying to morph now and, just merge into this new world. We are just trying to get out of our own shell, because remember that, men, we have always been constant and consistent throughout the times. We have been the same people, but now we are trying to find our place in this life, and maybe the gender-based violence cases will decrease, and maybe the violence will decrease. Maybe the depression rates and the suicide rates will decrease, as a result of this. If men walk around in public knowing who they are and what they are as a man, if you do these things, then you are a man. Every man is going to feel proud and happy to be a man. So we are going to find it more valuable to spend our times la emhlabeni, because we need to protect abantwana bethu physically, nabomama bethu physically, and the other men physically as well. So this is just a journey to help us grow. And you know what? It's a step by step, but we will get there. We will get there. So thank you very much again, Zuko. Thank you very much again, Nyamenda. Thank you very much to Senzo. Thank you very much, Dr. Piri. Thank you very much, Chabulani. Thank you to our beautiful moderators. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Nokamam, who's got my mandem off balance here, but it's fine. But in the we are going to figure it out. No maganjani, we are going to figure this out. I want men, when they leave the house every day in the morning, they feel special, knowing that you don't need to have money. You don't need to do this or that. You don't need to with the none, but you are just a man. So that's why I like what Dr. Piri said. You are a man because of that the mere presence of the fact that you have a Y chromosome makes you enough of a man. You know, so let's try to find more stuff like that, more positivity, more things to make men be men. So we are not sure of the answers, right? Even me, Nyamende, I don't have all the answers, and this is why I'm here and I sit throughout the whole entire life, because nami ufuneka ngifunde. So ndiyabulela, guys.
Yes, guys, when you have a woman that does not mind splashing you with gifts, that is a blessing, and you should be very appreciative. But where I'm going is, I think we should agree that maybe we should, instead of coming with a big topic like what is a man, oh God, yes. Instead of agreeing that, instead of maybe tackling a big topic like this one, maybe we should agree that on Sunday, let's talk about responsibilities of a man only, nothing else, just responsibilities of a man. And then on next week, Wednesday, maybe we'll choose another topic from these things that keep popping here, like responsibilities, like leadership, like protection, all these things. So that maybe if we deal with it that way, it becomes easier to then know what it actually means and understand the limits. And I don't know.
Yeah, so we are going back to
Nyanisile
so we are
ubhuti
going
Vuyani uthe into ebalulekileyo esho wayigxininisa futhi uba when taking these responsibilities, which is what has led a lot of men to hit depression and whatnot, it's not finding a limit. It's not finding where the breaking point is. And ufumanise uba amadoda, they go over the tipping point. So mna for uSunday sithethe nge-responsibilities esinazo. If nazo they tend to be broad, we'll find a way to break them down.
Nyamende nkosi yam.
Yeah.
Andibulise tata man nesigqiba sakho Ash noButzuku pha.
Nikhawulezise madoda, ndidinga uyothi good night kamama, so ndicela nikhawulezise.
Ubethile bafundisi.
Thetha lizibhoda.
Zama kha sinqandele torho. Anyway,
Thetha lizibhoda.
ndine-confession qala Anele. Ndithe ndiqala ukungena. Today was a very tiring and emotional day for me. Ndithe ndiqala ukungena ndabiwa ubuthongo. Ndiyaqala ukothuka ngoku ndothusa ngoWhatsApp ugqiba ngena kwenye ifowuni. So I don't know izinto ebezidiscussiwe kulo live. I honestly have no idea. So this is but ndive xa usithi chomam ne you don't want us to say izinto to take definitions of what a man is from other people and who stand to benefit from that definition. Which brings me to why I had said what is a man ngecawa. Look, a man is a life bringer, a cornerstone of a family. That's a cornerstone upon which a family is built. A man is because of that, he will then be expected to. Okay, a man is also a leader and a vision bearer. He bears the vision that he has, he
Zama awuzungena. Zama awuzungena. Thetha lizibhoda.
He leads that vision. Right? He leads into that vision. Now, ezinye izinto ke ngoku zokuba umuntu abe kanti indoda ibe kanti iyaprotector is based solely on the fact that he leads. Okanye he is a vision bearer, he is a life bringer. It then becomes natural instinct to protect ezazinto, eza core values zakhe, him being a man. A man is willing to fight for that vision. A man is willing to fight for that family. A man is willing to provide for that family. This is secondary to everything. Everything is secondary to him being a life bringer, a cornerstone of a family. Because should ba kube khona amamvulana that will come through me, funeka kube khona kuqala izindoda. So I am the foundation of that family. And kube khona usise ozawuselekthwa ndim into yoba wena uzawuba ngumama wabantwana bam. Meaning mna I am the foundation of that family ezawuba khona. Now, what am I willing to sacrifice to see that vision into place, to set it into motion? I'm willing to sacrifice my time, and provide for that family. Andibonke la question ikhawuleza msinyane. But ke I'm hoping ndizamphendula along the way Andy. So I'm willing to sacrifice my time and go and work to provide for my family. I am willing to protect my family. I am willing to lay down my life in order for the flourishment of my family. Yazi noba ndiziphendula le ndithethwayo na madoda. Ndimile apho.
You want to say something?
No, I'm okay. Mna ndi ready for. In fact, I'm not ready yet for Sunday, but nango omnye ndikhuza. It's fine. Niwufunde laa mbongo, ndiyanicela. Niwufunde umbongo kaMqhayi. I think if niwufundile, you'll feel better about answering this question. Ayanele. Ungamvala ulive. Before kuvala ulive, ndicela utsho uba ndifollowishwa nguSemi kunye noMbali. Just nje as a person apha kuTikTok, they both follow me. Ndiyazi uba ke loo nto ithi imele uba ndonwabe kangakanani.
Ash, do you have anything to say?
Akho nto tata.
Buzz Lightyear.
Umbongo uthi umfo endimthandayo.
Okay.
By uMqhayi.
Sawukhangela Butsuko. Masibulele madoda and andazi noma nizawufuna sidibane na kwakhona mhlawumbi ngoLwesihlanu or ngoMgqibelo ukulungisela icawa.
Noba ingangongomso.
Friday right ne?
Ngomso. Ngomso i-right ngosisasuka kule sisenomsindo yonke into isefresh engqondweni. Ngolaa hlobo besenze ngalo from Sunday sadibana Monday. Now from this one I would prefer sidibane ngomso kwaBratops again. Bratops sicela usivulela ulive ngo-8 ngomso sawudibana kwakho senze recap yalena and then plan for Sunday. Nango ke yabona ke ngoku uthetha yona uAndy le nto ndicingayo. Baba yini?
Ake nisale kahle madoda kukho i-calls ezibalulekileyo kufuneka sisenzile singabanye. Thanks to everyone that joined the live. I'm an Ash bra, lisadistebekile kancinci. Please talk. Thank the people.
About what, my guy?
For their presence and everything, for being here.
Okay. Guys, Mandem is not focused because Mandem ucinge into zakhe ucabanga ukamama. So that's why. But in any case, good night to everybody. Safafi nyane safafi. Saswele kaka we are dead. So guys, but yeah, no. Yeah, Zama is just trying to melt my heart so we can allow her on the live. We are not allowing you to jump on, Zama. You can smooth talk the boy, but Aziz, we can't allow you.
Can I close the live now, guys? Uklo, we can't figure out much. We did not agree on the time. What time are we meeting? Kwa Tops?
That's why they are
Uzokuthe
phone
8 o'clock.
Andiva?
That's why
Uzokuthe 8
ndilinde loo nto.
Oh, the Tops kawutsho siyani kwabani ixesha bathi ngo-7 tomorrow ngo-7 sikwa Tops.
Okay. All right, akuxhala. Kuthiwa
Omnye
8,
uSunshine uthi ngo-8
Uzokuthe 8.
nanko omnye 8 evela. Nozuke bethe 8. I think we-8 ke it's the time we agree on.
Yeah.
Good night, guys. Gents, Lazy Poet, bruh. If I could hug you, I would really hug you. And I know you know why. And to everybody that is here, more especially to the gents, I love you guys. Just a level below Gamam. I love you guys.
Wow, I am gone.
Thank you, sir. We love you too.